Welcome to the second edition of Rewriting the Rules. Before kicking off the book proper, I want to say a few words about how it's altered since the first edition and what it means to me. If you're new to Rewriting the Rules, feel free to skip on to Chapter 1 and get cracking. If you want to hear about the changes I've made or about my personal relationship with this book, continue on. The first edition of Rewriting the Rules was published back in 2013. It was the culmination of the previous decade of my life. During that time, I academically researched communities which were finding different ways of doing love, sex and gender, at the same time as exploring these possibilities in my own life. I always wanted to write an anti-self-help style book, bringing all that I'd learnt together. I came up with the title Rewriting the Rules in 2003 and sketched out chapter headings and outlines over subsequent years. It was only in 2009 that I had enough courage to sit down and write the book. Even after that, it took several years to find a publisher and get it out there. Thanks, Routledge. Rewriting the Rules was a frightening book to publish. It was the first time I'd stepped outside of my previous comfort zone of academic writing to write for the general public. I'd always imagined this would be a better fit for me, hopefully, eventually my main job, so there was a lot riding on it. More than that, several years previously I had a terrifying experience of my work being reported in the media in an uncontrollable way. I feared that something similar might happen again when I published Rewriting the Rules. In 2005, I gave a talk about the language of polyamory to a psychology conference. As always, in such talks, I was open about the fact that I was personally involved in those kinds of relationships, as well as researching them. When the press at the conference spoke to me about my study and took my photo, I imagined that a brief summary of the research would appear, along with several others, towards the end of the Monday editions of a couple of newspapers. Instead, their reports about my work and personal life took up a significant portion of one of the first few pages of most of the national and some international papers, both on the Monday and the following weekend. If the Pope hadn't died that week, I dread to think how bad it would have been.